Okay. Hi, my name is Maddie. I'm one of the nurses from the inpatient unit, and I'm just going to cover some of our new rooms and how they function. These are our nurse servers. They will be stocked from the outside, and they have the ability to roll out both ways, so you'll have access in the room as well. Excuse me. We do have little containers, so what will happen is when you use a container, you will put the used one in the back, and then they will be stocking from out here. We also have a garbage as well as linen, and that will be accessible from the inside as well. We will be having these little pull-out tabs. They can kind of indicate the patient's NPO, fluid restrictions, if they need daily weights. The do not disturb, which I know therapy will be using because we don't have the little toggles that are outside the room like they are currently. We also have sight impaired and hearing impaired, and they just kind of pull in and out. Another area that's kind of between the rooms is this charting area. This chair will have the ability to go up so you can chart. And these little blinds just kind of flip. So if you were kind of wanting to monitor a couple different patients, or maybe somebody that got back from surgery, you want to keep an eye on them and chart, you can do that. Works the other way, so you can also close it. Maybe this is the only computer that's available. And they also close on the inside and open as well. We will be using these for our isolation gowns and gloves. And then I always kind of point out the hand sanitizer here because the closest one in the room is all the way by the bathroom. So in order to open this to kind of widen the door to get the beds in and out, there's just a little button that you click up here. And then to shut it, it'll just reset itself here. Okay, so the rooms are basically going to be set up the same. They'll just be mirror images of each other. So for example, if we were in the next room, the door would be on the opposite side, sink would be on the opposite side. But you're always going to have your sink. This will be soap, so don't use it as sanitizer, and then your gloves here. We have what's called a noisemaker, so you kind of turn it up. Might be hard to hear, but it's kind of like a fan noise. It's a white noise that can kind of drown out sound. So if the patient was having trouble sleeping, they wouldn't maybe hear what's going on in the hallway. We also have all the lights here. So this big one is your main one that'll control all the lights in the room. And then we have a couple down here, and this light will control the little can light here. And anything with these kind of little lights on the side have the ability to be able to be dimmed and brightened. And then this one just has a couple can lights in the room. And if you want to reset everything, you just hit this and turn it back on, and it'll do all your lights again. I don't really cover this, but just know that this is where it'll be in all of the rooms, so you have the ability once you walk in to kind of turn the call lights on and off here. This is for the blinds. So on the left side, we have what's called the blackout blind. And on the right, you will have what's called the solar blind. So on top, that's your up button, and on the bottom will be your down button. When you hit them, you hit them again just to stop them at any time. On the river side, it takes a little bit longer for the blinds to come down just because the windows are a lot longer than over on the garden view side. And then I would just hit that again to stop it at any point. There are these three little buttons in the middle. These are for if you wanted to go down 25%, 50%, or 75%. So let's say you knew you wanted to at least go 75%, but maybe they've got belongings or something on the ledge. You can just hit it and it'll automatically stop for you. That being said, if we do go all the way down on the blinds, they go in front of the ledge. However, if something was sticking out like belongings on the ledge, it would continue to go. What happens is it elongates the blinds, and then when you put it up, it doesn't go up all the way, and when you put it down all the way, it'll be in the way of the furniture that's right there. And maintenance will have to come and reflip that back over manually on top. So I've just kind of been recommending to everybody to kind of keep belongings off of there, just because family members will also have the same control over by them. So these are the nurse servers from the inside of the room. They will be just scan badge access. They're not currently up and running, so we may have to turn this little nozzle as well. And then as far as medications or just needing additional shelf space if you're in here. I know lab thought maybe it would be good for them to be able to set things on, same with speech therapy. And then just below here is where we'll have a garbage. We are currently getting a shorter garbage, so you can kind of just throw the garbage in there. And then we also have our linen, our dirty linen that can go in here as well. When patients are on isolation, we are looking into something that will go over this, maybe some kind of like plastic securement device so that you're not able to get into this and you'll have to bring in what you need for that patient. We will have the scanners and the sharps container on the same side as whatever the nurse server is, just so that you're not constantly having to move these back and forth. There is another little light here, and that just controls the big light right above the patient, and it also has a dimmer switch on it as well. We do have the staff assist and code, so if you lift this up, you have access to that, and that is simply because our call light system is all the way on the other side of the room over there. So if there was an emergency, we want you to be able to get a hold of somebody. So we do have the monitors that are located on this side of the room, in OB there on the other side. And Philips monitor training is kind of a separate unit, so I won't really go over that. We do have our new pulse, so this black piece is just something that patients can hold on to while they're walking in the hallways versus having to hold on to the pumps. And the lifts are also a separate training, but the thing I kind of mentioned is if it's in your way, you can kind of move them where they need to be in order to be out of your way. They have inline charging, so it won't affect that at all. We do have the call light system over here, which is also a separate training. I just kind of go over, they do have the ability to use the blinds on here. There's a shade 1 and shade 2. So when you hit it, you just hit it again to stop it wherever you want to stop it. They also have a couple different lights on here. And it's a lot similar to what we have right now, just very much user-friendly compared to that. There's a big, huge TV button on here. Things are a little bit easier for patients to see and know what they're doing with these ones. And then we also have another little system here, which is what we'll be plugging all of our pumps into. And then that will get sent to the nurses on their communication devices if a pump is going off. Behind here, we do have the ability to control the temperature of the rooms. So if you click into it, the smaller number is what it's set to, and the larger number is what it is in the room. And there's just little up and down arrows on here that allow you to adjust that. And then we have these recliners in the room. And there is a little lever on the side here that you can switch. And that will give you the ability to kind of move the recliner in the 360 movement here. There is a handle on the back as well, kind of for pushing. And that you can also adjust this little pillow on the back. You can also do a steer mode. So if you wanted to transport a patient down to CT or something like that, it just gives you that, so it's not kind of pulling you in one direction or the other when you're going down the hallway. And I will just lock it. You'll kind of hear it click in place. There is a pull out down here. So when you pull this, there's a drop arm on the side here, and that gives you the capability of transferring a patient on a slider board. As well as I've kind of mentioned with lab, kind of gives you the ability to pop that arm out a little bit more accessibility. It is only located on the one side. On the other side, we have this big silver button, which is just for the legs. And there is a black lever inside that controls the back portion. And then this black button or lever gives it the rocking capability. And then you can kind of stop it where you want to and just lock it. All of the rooms have chairs, these foldable chairs just for more seating for family members, or if patients find them more comfortable than the recliner. For how many shelving units there are is how many are in that room. I know in ICU there's 2, so it'll be kind of easy to do a visual check and see if there's a chair missing somewhere. But you just fold up the chair and then you face it towards the wall here. And there's kind of these little rungs that you just slide it down in so you're not scraping the wall. There is a little can light here, so family are able to control that over in their area. This turns into a bed, and this table kind of moves the whole length of the bed here. It doesn't fold down, so kind of the only issue we've been running into is this is as far out of the way it goes, and then when I want to flip this down, I just got to tuck and make sure I'm not kind of hitting this portion as I do that. And then this is kind of the bed function. There are plugins on that side, so USB port and a plug-in that will be functioning for family to use as well. There is a light over on this wall, and you just go down, and if you want it brighter, you can go up with it, and they can kind of turn and just adjust that as to wherever they want it. We also have these little lights down here that are sensitive to darkness, and so they will turn on and kind of help the patient see a little bit at night. Patient bathrooms, so the switches will just be next to the sink side. They illuminate a light around the mirror here, as well as a can light that is up in the ceiling. There is a call light, kind of similar to what we have right now, with also a pull. There is also another one that is located next to the shower, just a pull. We do have this adjustable arm to help patients get on and off of the toilet. And just some shelving for storage here. We are in the process of getting shampoo and body wash pumps that will go here, and once that is purchased, we will have some kind of shelving over in the corner as well. The lower handle will control your pressure as well as hot or cold, and then the upper handle will control which shower head the water is coming out of. There are fans that are in the bathroom, and they are automatic, so those will go on and off as they sense the humidity and heat. Okay, we do have an area for patient belongings as well, so they will just be in the cabinets here. If these are locked, there is a little latch just at the bottom that you can open it with. There is also a phone that will be located in here. We are going to be trying to have patients use their cell phones a little bit more. A lot of people come in with cell phones to be able to talk to family members, and we'll have the capability of ordering online for them. But we do have the phone in case there are, some of the elderly patients or people that don't want to be using their cell phones, and we can just plug those in into any of the little blue outlets. We also have a space for flowers, cards, something like that. And then there is just a little light that is controlled down here. The TV, that will kind of function the same as it does right now as far as being able to turn it on and off with the call light. And we will be having our whiteboards on this side of the TV. These are just the new side tables, and there's just a little blue lever, and you can just do either side, so you don't have to do both. And then one of the nice capabilities with this is these function separately of one another. So if I wanted to use this, not like our current ones where they pull in and out together and you're kind of hitting the patient a little bit there. And then we also have this little mirror that can kind of go all the way around to wherever they want it, and will be good for storage as well. So these are the new beds that we will have, and some of them we are currently using. So if you haven't done training, here's just kind of an overview of the bed training. We have this white cord, and that one plugs in. There's actually just a little plug-in on the bottom area that you can use for sequentials and things. And if this cord is not plugged in, you will not have the function of that. This is also just the plug-in for the actual bed. It'll always kind of double beep that way. And when you plug it back in, it will eventually tell me that the call light is not plugged in. So it kind of gives you that little reminder to plug in the call light. This portion lifts up so that in the event you needed to get to a patient airway, you could do that, as well as these lift up and fold over. We do have our little poles here for fluids and things for surgery. And those just kind of go in
the call light is not connected.
So these poles just kind of go up in this area. There are little black plastic ones, and that is for just these poles only. The metal ones up here are the only ones that the O2 tanks can go in. So just the O2 tanks will be at the top of the bed. This here. All right. Now if you'll kind of look at the screen a little bit, we have the capability of what is called stand assist, and that will be one that patients will be using a lot. So in order to do any function, you have to hold it. And what it does is it would bring the patient's feet down and the back up. And they have that capability on the inside on their remotes as well. So they will have these little remotes. They are adjustable, so if we know that let's say they were having right shoulder surgery, we can actually take it out and put it onto the left side. They're able to adjust the firmness and softness of the bed with these buttons here. They can also adjust their head, their knees, and their legs. This is their stand assist button, which is exactly what we pushed. They also have the ability to be able to control the TV on this as well. So these kind of hold on both sides. You can either go here, or if you lift this up, you can also go on this side as well. We do have the speakers on the inside of the beds. So as far as when we do answer call lights, just be a little bit mindful of it might be a little bit louder than what we are used to. There is a USB port. So this will allow the patient to charge their phone or device on the bed, and just be mindful of it when you are putting any arms down. It's only located on the right side here, but if you're going to be putting the arms down, just make sure you don't have any cords or cables anywhere. We do have little pockets so they can store their devices as well. The pockets are on each side. And we also have a location for urinals as well, so they don't have to store that on the table. We do have, if you look a little bit down on that side, a red lever. You pull it, it is the CPR lever. It will automatically flatten the bed and max inflate it. You have to hold the lever until it beeps, which means it is done doing its function. This surface is hard to start compressions, but you're also going to want to get your board underneath the patient as soon as possible. And this is kind of nice because it tells you, usually on the screen, it'll tell you how long it's been inflated or how long you've been doing something, which would be nice for a code as well. We do have, move this so you can see here. When you are going up and down with the patient, there is this little thing that tells you where their hips should be for them to bend in the right place. And then also, you just do this little lever here to get it down. There's a rod that extends underneath, so the patient isn't being totally bent. It kind of like extends as you lift them up as well.
Go.
So we do have these plugins down here that function when the white cord is plugged in. There is a tiny little reset button, so if for whatever reason that is not working, that is something you can do to check the function and see if you can get it working that way. These are just the blue little levers. They go up to get the arm down. These arms are made for if there was ever any pressure on this side, I can't really easily get that lever, so try and not force it because that'll break that mechanism of the bed. We do have a placement for Foley's here, as well as placement for wrist restraints. So they'll all just look like this on the lower portion of the bed in different areas. This is the black portion that you can put IV poles in, but we do not want any oxygen tanks going in that portion. This is nice for putting sequentials through here, so we don't have extra cords wrapped around, and we can be plugging those into the plug-in at the bottom of the bed as well. I will just lengthen the bed so you can kind of see how that function works, but it has the ability to lengthen and shorten depending on the patient's height. In order to get through our current elevators in the older hospital, they have to be at their shortest. And when we do shorten them, inside it kind of works like a little accordion. So you just have this extra fabric here at the end that you have to kind of straighten and just kind of tuck a little bit. The surface of the bed itself is porous, so it helps to wick away sweat. So they kind of mention the less amount of sheets and things underneath the patient, the bed will function for them better. That being said, if there are any spills, we need to be quick to kind of clean them up because it will soak kind of into that mattress pretty quick. It can be cleaned how we currently clean our beds with the quat spray and the gray wipes. You are able to use bleach if it was an isolation room, but kind of keep that to only as needed because they will be using the UV lights to clean the rooms as well. For the beds to function properly for the bed alarms, we are going to be having to weigh the patients and having an accurate weight in there. So as you can see, my last saved weight hasn't been done. It's just been zeroed. So it'll tell you your last saved weight. So if you did have a weight on this patient, what it'll do is when you do weigh for the next day, it'll tell you the percent or the difference in the previous weight. So if they've gained or lost, as well as we'll want to be zeroing between patients, and that is something that EVS is aware of, and they will be zeroing the beds when they are done cleaning them. So you'll want to make sure you weigh, and then the alarm function. So there's a change position, moves towards the edge, and has left the bed. When these go off, there is a voice command that says, please don't get up. That is adjustable into 5 different languages. And what it does is it kind of delays the patient from actually getting out of bed before we're able to get into the room. There is also lights that are at the end of the bed. So when there's weight on the bed, the lights will illuminate down here. So as you can see, there's yellow, green, and blue. So the yellow is telling me there's something wrong. It's telling me that the bed is not in the safest position. It's telling me it needs to be lower, and this is causing a falls risk for the patient. The blue isn't bad. It just gives you a visual. You could walk by the room and know if the bed alarms are set. That will turn green. And then the side rails, you have to have at least 2 of the side rails up, so it's telling me that I'm good there. So I'm just going to lower the bed here. And when it completes a function, it'll just do that little beep at you, and then now it'll turn green and kind of tell you that you're good. If you ever get a double beep, it means that there's something that didn't go right in the function, and you need to look at the screen and it'll tell you what to do. There's also a help button. It's just this little question mark up in the corner. So if you forget how to do anything, like for example, we forgot how to weigh a patient, it will literally walk you through what you need to click and do in order to do that.